Oh, my wife. Well, that's a long story. I don't think there's any tape long enough in the world to cover this. Medea Benjamin is my wife, and we've been very happily married now for 24 years. And we both got hired at Food First. And she was out here in San Francisco. I was living in Washington, D.C. She was the Central America coordinator. And she called me up and said, hey, I got hired the same time you did, and I'm coming to Washington. Could I stay at your place? So I said, yeah, sure. We went out for dinner one night. And that was it. We moved in together. We had one date and we moved in together. We fell in love immediately. It took one conversation and we fell madly in love with each other. What Medea does is comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. That's her approach. She started a thing called Code Pink. Her and a few other women started a group called Code Pink Women for Peace. And they focus on the wars, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, and preventing wars of the future. They've now got over 300 chapters of Code Pink, mostly in the US, but in foreign countries as well. And it's basically women and a few male allies. They dress in pink and they go out in public venues with anti-war, peace slogans and information. They interrupted both Sarah Palin and John McCain during the Republican convention and got dragged out. And they're basically just trying to speak truth to power and say, look, war is stupid. It doesn't accomplish what you say it does. Like, there were people who, when the Iraq war started, were thinking, oh, we're going to get cheap oil. And the oil now is, and our gasoline is way more expensive than it was before, in addition to the trillions of dollars we've wasted killing people and all the people who now hate us because we bombed their mosques, we killed their children, we ruined their country. I was in Iraq before all this war started, and Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, but you could walk the streets, women could ride the bus, kids could walk to school. It was a safe country. Granted, a bad dictator, but the country wasn't destroyed, and we went in there and we wrecked the place. It's a 5,000-year-old civilization, and we've destroyed it, and we're probably not going to repay them for all the damage that we did. Most peaceful way to make a difference. Well, Malcolm X once said that you can't make a revolution out there in the world unless you do a revolution inside yourself. And that's why I always go back to this thing of love and compassion and caring. If your motivation for doing social change in the world is caring and compassion and bringing more joy into the world, you're going to have a lot of fun. When I wake up in the morning, I have no doubt about putting my feet on the floor and going to work. I want to go to work. What percentage of American working people, when they wake up in the morning, really want to go to work? For most people, their greatest act of heroism on a given day is putting their feet on the floor, getting out of bed, because they're working some job they don't really like. And so I consider myself really fortunate. People say, oh man, you must really get worn out trying to save the world. No, it's actually very enlightening. It's a lot of fun because you're working with other people who read books and care. So give me those people who read books and give a damn about the world and have a sense of a child starving in Africa or a young girl in a sweatshop in China. They're our relatives. We are related to them, right? We all come from Africa. We come from the same parentage. We're all part of the same race, the human race. So we're starting to realize now that there's a different kind of spirituality. There's a better spirituality that brings science and merges it with spirituality and says, let's save humanity from itself. That's the number one agenda item. How do we save humanity from itself? And let's say there's a God, and God came down and said, Kevin, you know what? You're going to fail. This whole green economy, saving humanity from itself, no, it's not going to work. I would still do this work because it's more fun and it's more rewarding. And it's just easier to go through life with a positive attitude than, oh man, we're screwed, it's going to be terrible. And this cynical, I run into these cynics, that it's the intellectual coward, the person who says, yeah, Kevin, I understand. I have an analysis of capitalism and blah, blah, blah. Well, what are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm not going to do anything about it because, you can't change reality. Oh, that's just cowardice. That's spineless. So what we're trying to do is not just educate people, but get them pumped up and get them, full of this spirit of, come on, let's go out and change it. Or let's at least try to change it so that even if we fail, at least we gave it a best shot. I started playing organized football when I was 6 years old. We had our first team with pads and helmets and all when I was 6. Our team was 6, 7, and 8. The only other team in northern New Jersey that had equipment were 10, 11, and 12. So they beat us every game. And it was always like 60-0, 72-6, just crazy disparities. But we had a coach, working class guy, not very formally educated. He would get us fired up for every game. And he said, come on, let's go out there and show them what we're made of. Because even if you lose in terms of the points, if you did the very best you possibly can, you can walk off that field with your head held high and with a sense of dignity because you did the very best you can. And I think everything we do in life should be like that. This interview, writing a book, riding on the bus, talking to people, writing an article for the newspaper, whatever it is we do, if we do it the really best we can and take it seriously and put everything we've got into it, then that's a life well lived. And it takes away that fear of death. I'm not afraid of death because I've had a very full life. And, fear of death, you know what fear of death is? It's just like the fear you had when you were a baby, when you were in your mother's womb. You were about to make a transition to a whole new stage of life, and you didn't know what was out there. So it was scary, and you resisted. You didn't want to come out, right? We all did that. And then you come out, and you gradually adjust to it. And I think the transition to the next stage of life is the same thing. We don't know what's there, so we're afraid of it. You just need to go with it and check it out. Well, I'm honored to be interviewed by you, so thanks a lot. I'm sure we'll do more interviews in the future, don't worry. I hope you